Welcome to Homebush Bay, the site of the 2000 Olympic Games. Today, the 1998 Australian Fast Pitch Championships continue. We've got a great game in store for you. The Australian Capital Territory against Victoria in a cutthroat elimination final, with the winner going on to the preliminary final to take on New South Wales. So far in this competition, Victoria have beaten the ACT twice. To see if that form will continue, I'm joined by my co-commentator, retired Australian captain and Atlanta Olympian Joyce Lester. Joyce, the Victorians have a powerful lineup. Is it too powerful for the ACT?
Oh, Victoria have a great lineup, and some of the girls have been batting so well this week. Peter Eddebone and Nicole Richardson have been batting so well. But on the other hand, ACT have some great hitters as well. I'm sure it's going to be a very, very even game. The only thing that's going to be a little bit different will be the pitching. Whichever team can pitch the tightest will be the one that'll win this game, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, there's our umpires for today's game. 6 umpires put out by the Australian Softball Federation. Leslie Steedman from New South Wales, another very experienced umpire, is behind the plate for this important knockout semi-final. Weather conditions are not perfect, as we see the ACT lineup. Sally McCready hitting .428, the designated hitter. Natasha Devlin, Joanne Brown and Lisa Pridham at .304. Susie Brown, the second baseman. Alison Shea, Kate Judd, Shelley Moore, and batting ninth, the left fielder, Nicole Lawrence. And defensively, of course, for Victoria, around the outfield, Joe Fife, Nicole Richardson and Denise Carriere. In the infield, Ros Coonan, Simone Amiet, Shelley Gwynn and Peter Eddebone. Behind the plate is the catcher, Chris Cox. And on the plate, pitching for Victoria, Jackie Tyne. And here we go, the top of the first inning. ACT lead off with one of the great players in Australian softball, hitting .428, the designated hitter, Sally McCready.
Sally's had a fantastic tournament so far, and they'll be looking to see some great hits from to sell this game.
Jackie Tyne just starts off with the ball in the dirt, and there you can see Sally McCready, 1 home run so far in the tournament and 4 runs batted in.
It's one of Sally's fortes is being able to pick a good strike. She gets a lot of walks because she's so selective, and obviously gets a lot of hits too.
Jackie Tyne on the mound, 15 innings pitched, has given up 15 hits, walked just 1 hitter and 13 strikeouts, but already she's falling behind on Sally McCready, 3 balls and no strikes. Just missed. Pretty close pitch on the bottom part of the strike zone. Sally McCready lays off it and she's aboard with a base on balls.
Well, that's not a bad thing to do, really, because when you're behind 3 balls against someone like Sally McDermott, you don't want to come back. You don't want to be throwing a good strike to someone like that and give them an extra base.
There we are, slapped down to third base. Well handled by Ros Coonan. She throws over to first. Peter Eddebone makes the out. Coonan looking to second, but the ball got to her so quickly that there was no one covering up there, so she wisely took the batter at first base.
That's a nice slap play by Natasha Devlin. And a great play by Ros Coonan too, to be able to make the out after trying to go for the one at second.
And with 1 out, coming to the plate, Joanne Brown, regular member of the Australian national team. She's hitting .320, 2 home runs, 5 runs batted in. And with Sally McCready at second base, she'll be looking to get the ACT off to a good start.
And this is putting pressure on the Victorian team right from the start, when you've got Joey Brown, who's a great hitter, up to bat with Sally on second.
Well, the pitch just low, and of course this is a critical knockout semi-final. The winner of this game goes on to play New South Wales in the preliminary final. Queensland, of course, are already waiting for a challenger. They're straight into the grand final, so whoever wins this continues, and if they lose, the loser, of course, goes out of the competition as Joanne Brown goes after this. Fouls it down the right field line, just out of the reach of right fielder Denise Carriere.
I mean, Joey has to be renowned back to the Olympics for that famous hit against the USA team. The fairy tale hit, what is it? Bottom of the 9th or whatever it was, and 2 strikes on her.
as she goes after this one. That's right, the Atlanta Olympics. Joe Brown came through and hit a 2-run home run to win the game for Australia against the USA. And it was an amazing result, an amazing ball game, and something that Joanne Brown can be very proud of and will be remembered for all time in Australian softball.
And definitely by USA softball, I'd say.
They haven't forgotten even yet. This ball hit to shortstop, handled by Simone Amiet over to first base to Peter Eddebone. A comfortable second out for Victoria as Sally McCready heads down to third base.
That's what they needed, a ball on the ground. I mean, a safe hit would have been fantastic, but ball on the ground gets Sally in scoring position.
So with 2 out, we go to the clean-up hitter in the number 4 spot, Lisa Pridham. And again, a very impressive .304 batting average with 1 home run.
You wonder what Richard McCready must be thinking. I mean, he's got Lisa Pridham batting in number 4, which is a clean-up, and someone like his wife, Sally McCready, in first. I mean, it would be a hard decision to be putting Sal in first position.
But already it's paid dividends for them. She's got such a great eye that Sally picked out the walk, who's been advanced around to third base, and now we'll be hoping that Lisa Pridham comes through for the ACT here in the first inning and gets them off to the sort of start they're going to need if they're going to go on and beat Victoria.
I think maybe McCready thinks that Sally will be walked too many times if she's down in the order. But the reason he puts her up there is to get her on base and to rely on the other batters to get her in.
2 balls and 1 strike on Lisa Pridham. Jackie Tyne on the pitcher's plate. There's Richard McCready. This ball again hit the shortstop, handled by Simone Amiet over to Peter Eddebone. 1 base runner on the walk to open the game, but then a comfortable inning from Jackie Tyne and Victoria as we see this out. Well handled and a good solid throw.
And well picked up by Peter Eddebone on first base.
And that ends the top of the first inning. ACT don't score and Victoria are on their way to the plate. And the batting order for Victoria, right fielder Denise Carriere hitting .261, then Chris Cox the catcher at .333, Simone Amiet the shortstop, Peter Eddebone hitting .389, Nicole Richardson at .357, then Ros Coonan, Jackie Ames, Shelley Gwynn, and batting ninth, the left fielder Joe Fife, who's hitting .200. Defensively for the ACT around the outfield, Nicole Lawrence, Shelley Moore and Natasha Devlin. In the infield, Kate Judd, Lisa Pridham, Susie Brown and Alison Shea. Behind the plate, Joanne Brown. And on the mound, Carolyn Crudgington.
This has been a great year for ACT because they've got someone like Carolyn Crudgington who actually didn't get selected in the Queensland team, so they've picked her up as their number 1 pitcher.
27 innings from Carolyn Crudgington, given up 21 hits, walked 6 batters but struck out 39. And a good start. Nice pitch on the inside for a strike. Carolyn Crudgington has really added extra dimension to this ACT lineup and has led them all the way to this semi-final.
It's good to see Denise Carriere over here. She's one of the squad members in the Canadian side, and she's been over playing here on a regular basis for quite a while.
Hitting .261 and really made a good contribution at the top of this Victorian lineup. Waits on it, goes after it and drives into the left field. That was a really nice piece of hitting. She just kept her hands back, went the other way. It was handled by Joe Fife out. In fact, Nicole Lawrence out in left field, but Denise Carriere starts the game with a hit.
Nice waiting and nicely placed on that outside pitch. Again, they've got their lead runner on as well. That's a huge advantage and a lot of pressure put on the ACT straight away.
Chris Cox lays down the bunt. First base has got it. They go to second and don't get her. An interesting decision. They decided not to go after the batter. Went to second base and don't get there in time. Couldn't catch Denise Carriere with a good speed as the lead-off hitter. And so now Victoria have got runners at first and second base and no one out.
Alison Shea picking up that ball and going for 2. That's aggressive, but you have to make sure of an out beginning in the game. The safe and percentage play would have been first base.
And that brings up Simone Omiet, the shortstop, hitting .292. 1 home run, 2 runs batted in. Great chance now for Victoria to get the early ascendancy. 2 base runners, no one out. Lays down another bunt. Here comes the first base. Alison Shea. She throws over to Susie Brown, who was covering. And that's the first out. But a very nice bunt from Simone Omiet and moves the runners to second and third.
Yes, and another very close play. She looks at third base to go again. Thank goodness she didn't throw over, but makes a good out at first base.
And now here the leading hitter in the Victorian team, Peter Eddebone, hitting .389.
Again, this is tough. They've got runners on 2 and 3. You know, you'd be fairly tempted to walk Peter Eddebone in this state. You know, load up the bases and make it a little bit easier to make an out.
Yeah, this is the best possible situation right now for Victoria. 2 runners on and their best hitter at the plate.
I'd imagine the pressure on Carolyn Crudgington must be fairly great. You know, an error made and 2 runners on. That's tough for a pitcher at this stage.
Peter Eddebone lifts it out into left field. This one's going to drop in just in front of Nicole Lawrence. Shelley Moore comes around to back up, but the run scores from third base, and Victoria take the lead as Denise Carriere crosses the plate on a double by Peter Eddebone.
She digs that ball right out, gets underneath it. But the girls on the outfield are standing right out on the fence for Peter Eddebone, obviously being a big hitter, and she drops one in.
There's Denise Carriere, comes in to score the opening run of the ball game. As in the background, Peter Eddebone heads into second. So a great start for Victoria, and they still have runners at second and third, only one out, and now Nicole Richardson.
And Nicole's been batting well this tournament as well. They're going to have to be really careful again. They're going to have to pitch tight to Nicole.
Great pitch on the outside, Nicole Richardson. I don't think you could believe she chased it, but swings through it. Obviously pretty keen to make contact and drive in another run for Victoria.
Yes, Carolyn Crudgington's got a great forte of pitching as well, and her drop ball seems to be working really well this tournament.
Richardson lifts this one high into the air. It's in foul territory. Overcomes shortstop Lisa Pridham and makes a great catch. Ball coming in over his shoulder, and she just cradled her hands and handled it comfortably for the second out.
Richardson gets right under that again, which is fairly typical of Nicole Richardson getting underneath the ball.
Yeah, that was certainly a fine out by Lisa Pridham to retire Nicole Richardson. So there's 2 out, runners at second and third, and here comes Ros Kernan.
The amazing thing about Ros Kernan, if you look at her statistics, is she's really not been batting well, but she's got 5 runs batted in, which is fantastic.
Yeah, she's second on the team to Peter Eddebone with runs batted in. Eddebone with 6 and Kernan with 5, although she's only hitting 143. That ball in the dirt. Peter Eddebone, you see, gets a good lead from second, but Chris Cox from third can't advance.
And that was well done by Joe Brown, keeping the ball in front of her like that. Ros Kernan swings hard. It's one thing about Ros Kernan is she's capable of putting it over the fence. She's a great hitter. Although she hasn't been batting so well this tournament, she can get the hit at the right time.
2 balls and 2 strikes. There's 2 out. We're in the bottom of the first inning. Victoria on top, 1-0. Kernan Coonan hits this ball back up the middle. That's what Victoria needed, and that drives in the second run. Here goes the throw over to first base. Shelley Moore tries to throw the batter out at first to prevent the run scoring, but Ros Coonan does it, and Victoria lead 2-0.
Nice hit by Ros Coonan, and it's just what her stats have been showing. You know, with runners on base, she's a tough competitor. Hits that ball straight back through the centre, straight back through Crudgington.
And there was the throw from Shelley Moore over to first base. But that doesn't retire Coonan. Chris Cox crosses the plate. Victoria lead 2-0. There's runners at first and third. And Jackie Ames, the designated hitter, comes up to the plate. Jackie Ames struggling a little bit. 19 at-bats, just the one hit for an 0.53 batting average. It's got a great opportunity. There's Peter Eddebone down at third base. If Ames can come through, it'll extend Victoria's lead.
Crudgington really needs to work hard on these lower-end hitters. And throwing balls to them and getting behind in the count isn't going to help her at this stage. Nice pitch.
Certainly one of the better ones she's thrown so far in the ball game. That puts her ahead, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Carolyn's best pitch used to be a rice pitch, but she's not throwing many of them. Her drops seem to be working quite well. I've always thought, though, her sucker pitch has been her best pitch, always.
And there it was. She got her outside. Little foul tip. Leslie Steedman calls the strikeout, and that does the job.
And that sucker pitch is a lot different to the normal one she throws.
And there we are. Victoria pick up 2 runs. We've played 1 complete inning. It's Victoria 2, ACT nothing. Leslie Steedman cleaning off home plate as we head to the top of the second inning. Victoria with the 2 big runs in the bottom of the first. They lead 2-0. And coming up for the ACT is their second base, Susie Brown. She's hitting 286. No home runs yet, but has got 4 runs batted in. Steps in to face Jackie Tyne, pitching for Victoria. Lifts this ball into short centre field. Shortstop Simone Amiette goes back, handles it comfortably for the first out.
Susie Brown's been playing for the ACT team for a long time. I think she's a very underrated player. I mean, she's always been there and a smart second baseman.
Alison Shea comes up with 1 out. She's batting 190. She's got the 1 home run so far, the first base for the ACT.
Nice pitch by Tyne.
Alison Shea hits this hard into left field. Past Ros Coonan at third base. Joe Fife handles it. And that's the first base hit of the ball game by the ACT. It belongs to Alison Shea. She's at first base with 1 out.
ACT need to put some pressure on the Victorian side. They had a bad beginning of the game and they need to sort of pressurise them and get some runs early.
What a good effort, though, by Coonan down the third baseline. Almost came up with that catch on that hit into left field by Shea. Kate Judd now stepping into the batter's box, third base for the ACT.
The ACT team have obviously had to have a bit of a shuffle round with Sally McCready not being on the field. I believe she has a sore shoulder and can't throw, so the safest place to put her is first base.
Kate Judd in the batter's box, just her 11th at-bat of this National Championships. Picked up 1 hit so far and driven in 1 run.
She wanted to go for that one.
Nice pitch from Jackie Tyne. Fell behind 3 balls and no strikes. That brings the count to 3-1. Alison Shea still down at first base for the ACT.
Those pitches are close enough to go for.
The ACT certainly need to come out and go after Jackie Tyne if they can get anything they can handle. This pitch up, and Kate Judd swings through it. That's the first strike out of the game for Jackie Tyne, and the second out here in the second inning.
ACT really need to leave those high pitches of Jackie Tyne's. I mean, she's been renowned for her high pitch. That's the one she's really good at. So they need to leave them go and start looking at her low pitches. Just like that.
Great catch out in right field. Shelley Moore hit that really hard. It was good contact, but Denise Carriere went to her right, stretched out, and took it comfortably to end the inning. This is a good piece of hitting. Just slaps it into right field, and there's Carriere on the run, makes the catch, and that's all for the ACT. We've played 1.5 innings. It's the ACT 0, Victoria 2. And a great crowd in for this late afternoon, heading into the evening ball game. Signs of rain, though, around the area of Homebush. Shelley Gwynn, second base for Victoria, steps in, hitting .250.
You almost see a change in that wind-up of Carolyn Crudgington as she lets that ball go.
Oh, a good drop ball that Shelley Gwynn hit down into the dirt, came up and hit her in the leg, so that immediately makes it foul. She'll return to the batter's box. Hits this ball down to third base, handled by Kate Judd. She throws over to Alison Shea. Made pretty good contact from Shelley Gwynn, but turns into a ground ball for the first out.
Shelley Gwynn seems to be shuffling around in that batting box. She looks a little bit nervous and unsettled.
Certainly looked like she moved her feet as the ball was coming to home plate, and ended up hitting it with a lot of top spin down to third base. Kate Judd did the job, and it brings up Jo Fife, the left fielder.
And Victoria must be really suffering with their lead #1 pitcher not coming away this year, Jenny Holiday. And they've really got to rely on those pitchers who've been backing her up for the last few years.
As that ball goes through, on the screen there you can just sort of see glimpses of rain falling at Homebush Bay for this important knockout final in the Australian Women's Championships. But again, the rain's certainly not hard enough to disrupt the game or make conditions difficult for the players. Great pitch, up and inside. Jo Fife decided to leave it alone, but it was certainly a strike, and that's the second out.
And that's a hard pitch, those inside pitches, because with someone like Carolyn Crudgington, she can curve the ball and drop it, so you're not really sure what it's going to do.
Here we go, back to the top of the Victorian order. A part of the order that did such a good job back in the first inning, Denise Carriere. Base hit into left field. Slaps the ball straight to the second base. It's going to be close at first. Beat it out. Wonderful, wonderful piece of hitting. It was a close call at first base.
It was a close call. I'd like to see that again. That first base racing back. Oh, it might have been at the same time. Not a bad call.
And throw goes up. Denise Carriere with lots of speed, being aggressive on the bases, and that was the benefit of that speed. She beat it out and gives Victoria a runner at first base with 2 out as Chris Cox steps into the batter's box. She also got on base on the bunt back in the first inning. Cox hits this hard to left field. Is it going to be fair? Yes, it is, and it's a home run. As you see Nicole Lawrence tumble over the fence. Great piece of hitting by Chris Cox, and Victoria lead 4-0.
Chris Cox hasn't hit a home run yet at this tournament, but what a great time to hit it.
6 hits already for Victoria, and we're just 2 out in the bottom of the second, and they've blown the game wide open. They lead 4-0. Here it is, high in the air down the line, just fair, and got over.
It's almost like she knew that ball was going to be there. She was swinging hard and going for that left field side of the field.
Well, what a wonderful start for Victoria. Carriere and Cox have come to bat twice each, and both times they've scored. They've each scored twice, so it's 4-0, and a great start for Victoria.
Most of Victoria's hits have been off high pitches. Obviously, Brown will be thinking about keeping the ball low and away from them.
Yeah, it's really important for Joe Brown now behind the plate to really settle Carolyn Crudgington down, get her throwing the good spots down in the strike zone.
Oh, that was close.
Nice pitch there that Simone Amiette swings through. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
As far as I believe, this is probably Carolyn Crudgington's last tournament. I think this is the swan song for her. She's just playing for ACT and seeing how she's going to go.
And threw a great pitch on the outside. Strikes out Simone Amiette. That ends the inning. Here you see it. Just turns it over away, gets the corner, but not before Victoria scored 2 big runs, and now they lead 4-0.
Bob Crudgington, as national women's coach, you must be so excited with the number of home runs that have been hit this tournament. 41, I think.
Yeah, I guess it depends which way you look at it. We also need pitchers, so I'm a bit worried about the pitchers getting hit, but that's a sign of the game. New bats, Joyce. You know yourself, you've hit some home runs before you retire.
I wish.
And it's a part of the game now. It's better for the spectators. So in conditions like this diamond, you would expect, with the wind usually behind the bars, you expect that. So yeah, I'm pretty happy.
What areas do you believe the Australian team really need to work on to achieve a gold medal at the next World Series?
Well, I think the skills are all there now. The hitting is certainly there. I certainly think the base running's still got a little bit more to go, and we'll be working on that. The pitching is there. We can get them focused. So I think it's just a matter of learning to play the game well as a team is probably the crucial issue here, not buckling under pressure, but exerting it on the opposition. I mean, we've got the firepower with the bats. I mean, some of those batters that you've seen here, like Eddabone and McCready and all those, they're really tough batters by anyone's standards. And the pitching staff, you know, they are awesome. So it's just a matter of keeping it all together and coming up with the wins.
This year being the World Cup, are you finally going to name a captain?
Yes, we are. It's taken a long time to replace you, Joyce, but yes, we will be naming a captain.
Well, in the top of the 3rd inning with Nicole Lawrence on base, Sally McCready comes through and hits a wonderful double over into the right centre field gap. There's Lawrence heading into 3rd and McCready into 2nd. But unfortunately, the ACT weren't able to capitalise on that wonderful opportunity. Then in the bottom of the 3rd, more of the same from the ACT, some good defence. Nicole Richardson on base, but Jackie Ames grounds out to shortstop and the score remains 4-0. Then we went on to the top of the 4th. And Susie Brown led off for the ACT with a hit into left field. ACT starting to make more contact at this point, but again, they couldn't get a run across the plate, and Susie Brown was left on base. In the bottom of the 4th, Denise Carriere came up against Carolyn Crudgington. Tried to use her speed again by laying down a bunt, but a wonderful play by Joe Brown down to first base retires her, and the score remains 4-0 to Victoria. Well, time's starting to run out for the ACT. We head into the top of the 5th inning, and Victoria are maintaining that 4-0 lead. Nicole Lawrence, the number 9 hitter in the order, is at the plate, the left fielder. She picked up a base hit earlier in the game, single into left field back in the 3rd inning, but wasn't able to score after Sally McCready hit the double.
Jackie Tyne's doing a great job in here. She's just sort of putting the ball in there and keeping those ACT batters at bay. I mean, they might be getting the odd hit here and there, but certainly putting pressure on them when there's runners on base.
This ball lifted by Lawrence into centre field, but here comes Nicole Richardson. She was playing in exactly the right position, got a good jump on it, came in and handled the catch.
That was an interesting little slap play, the way she brought that back foot around and sort of half placed it, but unfortunately in the wrong position for ACT.
And Jackie Tyne there on the pitcher's plate, really working well. The drizzle continues to fall down here at Homebush. As she now goes back to the top of the order to pitch to Sally McCready.
Yes, and she's betting 1,000 for the game, a walk and a hit. Sally McCready's just been awesome over the last few years. She's just gone from strength to strength in her hitting. And it doesn't matter when she's up to bat, she's dangerous. I wouldn't like to be the pitcher either. Pitching in the rain against Sally McCready.
Yeah, pretty brave. Threw a change-up inside, but it just drifted too far inside. Chris Cox is just checking with home plate umpire Leslie Steedham that it actually missed inside. It was absolutely ripped down the left field line. McCready got way out in front of it, got it all, hit it a long way, but it hooked foul.
I was going to say something about a haircut. Obviously, long hair, the old Samson thing, obviously hasn't changed Sally's strength in her hitting.
Goes after this one as well and pulls this foul down the left field line. This ball's bouncing out of the stadium onto the road.
I mean, how do you know what's her weakness? I mean, she just seems to be hitting everything at the moment.
Brilliant pitch outside and goes the other way with it and gets a base hit. It's handled by Denise Carriere. Sally McCready ripped two down the left field line, but then enough discipline to get an outside pitch and a base hit to right field.
And that's a sign of a great hitter. All those inside balls. Ball on the outside, and I'm not even sure whether it was on the plate, and she sort of just goes across, places it across to right field.
And again, the ACT get a runner on base. It's 5 innings in a row now that they've had runners on base, but have not been able to get anyone across the plate. Natasha Devlin hits this ball to shortstop. Well played by Simone Amiette. They tried for the double play, but not in time. Nice backhanded play and a good throw over to Shelley Gwynn to get Sally McCready.
That's a nice hit too by Tasha Devlin. Really well struck, but unfortunately for her, probably too well struck to the shortstop, which nearly gets them a double play.
Richard McCready, the ACT coach, over there at third base. As one of his star hitters, Joe Brown, comes into the batter's box. There's 2 out. The runner goes, and great effort at second base. The runner took off on the pitch. That was Natasha Devlin. The throw got there ahead of time, and she just jumped over the fielder, Simone Amiette, who had trouble trying to tag her, dropped the ball. Fabulous action.
Fantastic effort. I'm sure it absolutely surprised the fielder. She didn't know where to look for that runner, and she goes over the top. Good thinking by Tasha Devlin.
It was incredibly athletic, and she's pretty happy with the performance.
You don't see that often.
But right now, ACT need to find any way they can to get on the scoreboard, and Natasha Devlin's prepared to try anything. She's now at second base with Joe Brown in the batter's box, and a good chance really for the ACT to try and get on the scoreboard and cut this lead of 4-0 that Victoria currently hold.
It'll be a big boost to their confidence to at least score 1 run from here.
That pitch misses inside. Joe Brown gets a walk. Puts runners at first and second with 2 out, and it's going to bring up Lisa Pridham.
that's good pitching there by Jackie Tyne. She's making it tough in there on that inside pitch for Joey Brown.
Yeah, really wanted to make sure that she didn't give her anything good to hit. A home run then wouldn't have helped Victoria at all. Would have cut the lead in half. And really still not in a bad position for Victoria. Runners at first and second. They've got 2 out. This ball hit the shortstop. Here comes Simone Amiet over to Peter Eddebone. So they walk Joe Brown, but it does no damage. The ACT lead 2 runners as we see this ground ball to shortstop to end the inning. It's well handled by Simone Amiet. She throws over. We've completed the top of the 5th inning here at Homebush, and still Victoria lead 4-0. There we are, you can see the scenes. The rain hasn't been super heavy, but it's really just been continuous through most of this ball game. And it's been a steady drizzle, but we've got some hardy fans out there and a very brave cameraman out in centre field, out on the cherry picker. As Karen Crudgington is back on the mound.
A nice pitch to start the innings by Carolyn Crudgington.
She'll remember Chris Cox in the batter's box from the 2nd inning. She hit the home run down the left field line that put them on top 4-0.
Chris Cox has had a good tournament this time. Often she has trouble batting the ball in the Nationals, but this time she's come out and hit the ball hard.
Pitch on the outside corner from Carolyn Crudgington. Cox goes after it, but fouls it off.
Nice pitching from Crudgington.
Yeah, it was a great spot on the outside, and Cox, who hit the home run earlier, strikes out this time. And that's the first out here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Simone Amiet, the shortstop, who's had a great game defensively for Victoria in the batter's box, struck out back in the 2nd. Laid down a great bunt in the 1st inning to advance the runners that ultimately scored. So she's made a contribution on offense and has been wonderful defensively at shortstop. That was a pretty good pitch. Didn't miss by a whole lot on the outside. And Carolyn Crudgington really throwing that pitch well to a good spot. But Simone Amiet laid off it.
Yes, Carolyn doesn't have a quick pitch, but she certainly moves the ball around a lot. I think the balls that have been hit so far are the ones that haven't been moving. They've just sort of been sitting there, which has been unfortunate for ACT.
Pitch down low. And once again, the ACT continue to put up a good performance at national championships in softball. They've got themselves into the top 4 of this tournament, ahead of states like South Australia and Western Australia. And it really shows a lot for the development of the sport in the ACT. This ball was hit back up the middle, but shortstop Lisa Pridham handles it comfortably. Carolyn Crudgington tried to grab it, but it made its way through, and that's the 2nd out.
I mean, it's amazing when you think of how many people actually play softball in ACT and how well they play. I mean, they have some of the best players in the world. I mean, with Sally McCready there, and Joey Brown's a great player too.
Yeah, and you think all the way back to, you know, the late 70s, early 80s with the Duff sisters that really...
That's showing your age.
I know.
That's terrible.
Well, I'm as old as you. I can remember all of this. I was actually there. But they really dominated the scene, and ACT won some championships. They've also won 2 or 3 men's championships. As Peter Eddebone up again, hits this ball hard down the 3rd baseline. Kate Judd throws it over, and it's handled comfortably at first base by Alison Shea. So Peter Eddebone picked up a double back in the 1st, but can't add to it here in the bottom of the 5th inning. And as you see, she's retired by 2 or 3 metres comfortably for the ACT. And the score remains 4-0 in favour of Victoria.
We hope you're enjoying Fast Pitch Softball.
Time starting to run out for the ACT. Victoria still lead 4-0. 2 more chances for the ACT to try and score. Susie Brown up, and a new pitcher out there for Victoria. Shirley Ainsley has come in to try and complete the game after Jackie Tyne did a wonderful job for 5 innings to restrict the ACT lineup. They got a few hits, but every time they threatened, Jackie Tyne managed to shut them down.
You wonder whether the coach of Victoria is actually thinking of pitching Jackie Tyne or starting her in the next game, and that's why she's taken her out, to give her a bit of a rest.
As Susie Brown hits this one deep to centre field, but Nicole Richardson goes back and handles it comfortably. Susie Brown's really had a good game with the bat, picked up a hit in the 4th and hits this one well here in the 6th inning.
And it's almost like she's not swinging hard at it, and it goes out all that way, almost to the fence. She's not looking happy.
And with one out, Alison Shea comes up. This might be a good move by Victoria if they need to use Jackie Tyne, in any sort of tournament play. It's really important to make sure that your pitchers have got good rest and a good opportunity to continue into each game. So Jackie Tyne's back on the bench, and they're going to rely on Shirley Ainsley to finish this one off.
And it's a good confidence booster for the younger pitchers too, to get a piece of these important games. The more that the coaches have confidence in the players, especially pitchers, the better off they're going to be later on when it gets to final time.
Now you see 16 innings pitched, 11 strikeouts, but 9 walks. So she's been able to throw the ball by the hitter, but has also at times struggled with her control. But right now, with this 4-run lead, the Victorian team will be looking for her just really to throw strikes, get the hitters to hit some ground balls, and get out of here as quickly as they can. This ball, exactly what they wanted. A ground ball to shortstop. Simone Omied over to Peter Eddebone. Great piece of pitching by Shirley Ainsley for the 2nd out.
Yeah, she's doing a great job. She's coming in, pitching the ball over the plate, pitching strikes, and 2 outs already.
And now we've got a change. Kylie Bloodworth from the ACT. 12 at-bats, 1 hit, hitting .083. Richard McCready obviously going to take a chance with someone off the bench. She comes in to bat for Kate Judd.
And she looks hungry. She's chasing those pitches. Kylie used to play for New South Wales and is a pitcher, but it has been renowned for her hitting.
She hits this one hard to right field. That's good contact. It's going to carry. It's a home run to right field. Great piece of hitting. Great decision by Richard McCready, and Kylie Bloodworth comes through, hits the home run, and the ACT have scored.
I bet McCready's thinking he wished he had brought her in a few innings ago when they had runners on base.
Off the bat, it didn't look like a home run. It was tailing away to right field, but she hit it so well that it just kept going.
That's a nice hit. It's tough to get home runs in the opposite field.
Yeah, Denise Carrier looked up, and I think she initially as well thought she was going to be able to catch it, but it kept going. And that's a great blow for the ACT to score a run. They've been shut out through 5 2/3 innings, and they needed every run they can get and every chance they can get to get back in the ball game, and Kylie Bloodworth's given them an opportunity. But here, Shelley Moore hits it down to second base. Close play. But Shelley Gwynn throws over to Peter Eddebone and does the job. But what a good inning for the ACT as we see this final ground ball. Comfortable play by Shelley Gwynn. But Kylie Bloodworth comes through in the rain, hits the home run in the top of the 6th inning, and now it's 4-1 with Victoria still in the lead. So as we go to the bottom of the 6th, here is Nicole Richardson batting in the 5 spot for Victoria.
And I'm sure Victoria must be feeling fairly good at the moment, being ahead. I mean, I know they've got that 1 run against them, but, they've dominated the whole game here.
Yeah, it's been a pretty complete performance by Victoria, and as you say, I mean, they're very close to victory. They only need to retire the ACT 1 more time, and they've got this 3-run lead, but they would certainly love to extend it and give Shirley Ainsley as much room as she needs to work when she comes back out to pitch.
So this is amazing for Victoria. You know, they've always had great defence, having Jenny Holiday in the middle, and at times they've really struggled with hitting their runs in. But, you know, a lot of their batters are on form this tournament, which has been fantastic for them. Really takes the pressure off that pitcher.
Great change-up by Carolyn Crudgington, and Nicole Richardson swung through it. And I think she knew she wasn't going to be able to hit it as it was about halfway down. Gave a big smile and runs the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes.
She looks under no pressure whatsoever. She's having a nice smile out there and looks like she's enjoying herself.
Strike on the inside part. Nicole Richardson thought it was going to be ball 4 and was on her way to first base, but instead she can do a U-turn, head back to the dugout on this strikeout.
And Carolyn Crudgington knew it as soon as it left her hand.
Certainly was a strike. Good call by Leslie Steedman behind the plate, and that's the first out here in the bottom of the 6th inning for Victoria. Now we see third base, Ros Coonan. And Joyce, Victoria looked pretty complete in this ball game, but have they got enough to challenge Queensland, who they're going to face in the preliminary final, and in fact New South Wales, who they're going to face in the preliminary final, and Queensland if they get that far in the grand final?
Well, I think their biggest problem is their pitching. They have young pitchers, and as I said before, Jenny Holiday's been doing the majority of the work over the years, so that's going to be the tough part for them, keeping those New South Wales and Queensland batters at bay. It's going to be a tough job.
But ACT will be hoping that it's them that continue. They are still alive in this ball game, although it's certainly going to be a struggle for them. They're down 4-1, and we're approaching their last turn at bat once Carolyn Crudgington can get through this part of the Victorian order.
This is tough for Carolyn. This is her last series. You know, she would have been looking for some good games, and I don't think she'll be very happy with this one as being her final game.
As we get this ground ball off the glove at the third base, and it goes out into centre field, where Shelley Moore comes in to handle it. You can see there's good effort, but didn't quite come up with it. So that puts Ros Coonan at first base with 1 out, and Jackie Ames comes to the plate.
Nice pitch, Carolyn. She just seems to be throwing that one pitch over and over and over again to them. Curve.
Come on, get your teeth here. Make it happen.
Jackie Ames chases a low one, but pulls it foul down the third baseline.
They're really reaching for those balls at the moment, putting them right on the outside, slow balls, and they're coming right out to try and get them.
Carolyn Crudgington trying to dry off the ball as the steady drizzle. It hasn't really been hard rain, but the steady drizzle continues here at Homebush Bay. Nice pitch, just missed inside, but a great location. There you can see the umbrellas, the people sitting out in centre field.
And those are all the Victorian supporters, obviously enjoying themselves at this time.
This ball hit into the dirt. Here comes the shortstop, Lisa Pridham, and throws up to second base. And that was a nice play. She had to throw across her body. Susie Brown was there, and that retires Ros Coonan.
This is a great out, the way she gets it and just flicks it almost, even before she's on balance.
We've really seen some great defence from both shortstops. A wonderful play there by Lisa Pridham, and Simone Amiette for Victoria has been equally as good defensively. Really has been a very good standard game, but Victoria, as we saw, have broken it open very early on. 2 runs in the first, 2 in the second, and it looks like those runs may well hold up for the victory.
Oh, there's a rise from Carol Crudgeon. We haven't seen one of them for a while.
Yeah, she's really mainly stayed down off the plate, change-ups, drop balls, but she's fallen behind here. 2 balls and no strikes to Shelley Gwynn. Shelley flied out back in the 4th inning, hit a ground ball to third base in the 2nd. He's yet to reach base.
Good decision. Just go with it.
Coach trying to give Shelley a few hints to let her know they're calling it on the outside to her.
This ball hit back up the middle, but Lisa Pridham once again handles it comfortably, just treads on second base for the force to retire Jackie Ames. So Victoria get a couple of base runners, but both of them are retired at second base. Lisa Pridham had a wonderful inning defensively, and that shuts them out. So we've now played 6 complete innings here at Homebush Bay, and Victoria remain on top by a score of 4 runs to 1. Last chance for the ACT, the top of the 7th inning. They've got 3 more outs to play with, and they need 3 runs to tie up the ball game. They're going to start with Nicole Lawrence, the left fielder.
Nicole's done quite well. She's put bat on ball every time up to bat so far.
Once again, she's looking to slap the ball. Back in the 3rd inning, she slapped the ball hard down into left field for a base hit. And then in the 5th, she made great contact into centre field, but Nicole Richardson was playing in short enough to handle the fly ball.
Obviously, Coach McCready puts the slappers in at 9th position to try and get the runners on base, and then the lead-off hitters to hit her around.
Bit of concentration that time. Swung at a high pitch on the previous one, but managed to lay off that one.
Now, they really need Nicole to get on base here, otherwise they've got very little chance.
Great pitch. Wonderful location by Shirley Ainsley, and that strikes out Nicole Lawrence. That's 1 out here in the 7th inning.
I mean, that's tough. I know that's a close pitch, but if it's close enough, you have to go for it. You know, when you've got 2 strikes and you can't rely on the umpire.
Sally McCready, once again, nothing's changed. She comes up to the batter's box and hits the ball hard into left field. 3rd hit of the game for Sally McCready.
She just makes it look so easy. She's out there slamming that ball every time. That time on the outside, she's out there early, pulls it round. Quite different to the last time up to bat.
And hits the ball flat, hard and low. Doesn't give the fielders any opportunity, but it does give the ACT an opportunity. Puts a runner on base. Runner at first with 1 out for Natasha Devlin.
Yes, the acrobat's up again.
Yeah, that might be the most memorable play of the game, where she jumped over Simone Amiet into second base on the steal attempt.
Well, Tasha's a personality and obviously plays the same way. That's a good swing for Tasha.
Yeah, it certainly was, but fouled off straight back into Chris Cox. Right in the stomach, so...
Ouch.
Even with those chest protectors and other pieces of equipment, it still hurts every time you get hit.
Yes.
You'd well know, spending all those years behind home plate for the Australian team. They used to catch them before they hit you.
Oh, yes, oh, definitely not. Chris is having a great tournament there behind the plate. You know, I've watched her for years playing and catching to Jenny Holiday, and she's doing a great job for Victoria this tournament.
It's ball into third base. They go to second base and turn the double play. What a wonderful play. Great stretch by Peter Eddebone. That ends the game and sends Victoria into the preliminary final where they'll play New South Wales. This is outstanding.
Exactly the same as last turn up to bat. She slams the ball a little bit too hard and makes it easy for them to get the double play. Great pick-up, Peter Eddebone.
Really was, and what a wonderful turn up at second base by Shelley Gwynn, and that's enough to send Victoria to a wonderful 4-1 victory over the ACT.
A couple of nice hits and some very tidy fielding, Denise. Well done, that was fantastic. I hear you're a Canadian player over here playing. How long have you been in Australia now?
I've been in Australia for about almost 3.5 months now, but this is actually my 4th trip to Australia.
And what do you think of the standard here at the Nationals as compared to maybe the Canadian Nationals?
The standard here is excellent. I mean, Australia is one of the powers in the world in softball, so the standard here is very good.
Would you be using these championships at all as a lead-up to maybe selections in the Canadian team for the World Series?
Absolutely. This my reason for coming to Australia is to play ball and continue training. It's now winter at home, snow and cold, so I'm in Australia training, playing, and to play at this level and this competition is just excellent for me to hopefully go home, have a selection camp, and hopefully go to Japan for the Worlds representing Canada.
You must be looking forward to tomorrow's game against New South Wales in the preliminary final. What do you think Victoria must do to win that game?
Well, I think we're very capable of winning the game. I think definitely our pitching is very much needs to come up one step a little bit further and very capable of doing it. And our bats need to come alive. We have to get a lot more confident with we're here, we're able to win the game, just go out and do it.
Well, if you're going to hit the same way that you hit today, then you're certainly going to have a good chance. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Well, I certainly hope you enjoyed our game between the ACT and Victoria. Of course, now Victoria go into the preliminary final to face New South Wales in a crunch game to see who takes on Queensland. On behalf of Joyce Lester, I'm Michael Palmer. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.